What's this? Movement in the cosmosphere. Ah, yes. The Raygun 1 is repaired and spaceborne once again. Now is the time to enact my ingenious scheme. For I, Dr. Molagar, supreme tyrant of planet Molagar, from my impenetrable titanium fortress, shall once and for all wrest control of the galaxy from the cursed corporate consortium. And what better way than to utilize its greatest employees as my unwitting pawns?
Incoming hail from unknown sector of space.
Decline that shiznit computer. Another sales call.
What? That imbecile has terminated my call! Do they suspect me? No. I have been far too careful with stealthy machinations. Persistence and patience shall be my allies this day.
Incoming hail from unknown sector of space.
Again? Really?
Just because it's from an unknown sector doesn't mean it's a sales call.
If it's important, they'll leave a message.
Confounded caller ID. I shall initiate the call once more. Surely they will not expect a ruse thrice.
Incoming hail from unknown sector of space.
Damn it! Can I not stare into the void in peace?
You know we have a protocol for this. Answer, ascertain if the call is genuine, block accordingly.
I hate it when you cite protocol. Raygun 1, this is Abysmii.
Oh, I know who you are, oh insignificant green one.
I beg your pardon?
Silence, knave. You will speak when spoken to.
You are speaking to me.
I will not suffer your back-talking, trademark sarcasm, fool. You will show deference to the great Dr.
Dr. Manager? Why didn't you just say you were from corporate?
Yes, I am from corporate. And you will heed my...
What in the hell took you so long?
Do you have any idea how boring it is out here? There's nothing for gigaparsecs.
Well,
we got the rocket working again, by the way, without any help or anything.
I helped.
You ate Talos and watched empty space.
Yeah, I'm really good at it.
Enough! I have new orders for you two.
You don't sound like our last manager. What happened to Rachel Droid 4?
I vaporized her with my high-gain Emerald Lasertron.
Oh, she got a severance package?
You will travel to Duskin 6 and retrieve for me, I mean the company, a powerful piece of terraforming technology known as a hydroponic conducer.
Really? Farming equipment?
Hey, we've done worse. Remember that sewage run?
You will find this technology in the hands of a local bureaucrat. He'll resist parting with the object, but he is sorely behind in his payments. You may need to be creative in...
Yeah, okay, we've done repo work before.
Very well. I shall send the coordinates now. You leave at once.
No need to tell us twice. Goodbye, spooky voice person.
Insolent buffoons! They dare hang up on me! No matter. The seed is planted, and the harvest shall come to the patient planter. Until next time, Raygun 1.
Coordinates received and logged. It's gonna be a while before we make planetfall. Wanna read some stories?
Sure, why not?
This podcast often contains controversial or mature topics. You have been warned.
Welcome back to the podcast that you thought was dead. But it's not. Much like...
Wait, are we doing a podcast on Firefly?
No.
Wait, is Nathan Fillion coming back?
No.
No?
No. Sorry to disappoint everybody in the world. Except for me, maybe. But yeah, no Nathan Fillion. Sorry, he's not on. But if you're listening, Mr. Fillion, give us a call.
Welcome back to Raygun Readers, where everything is made up and the spaceships don't matter.
They do matter. We finally fixed it. It took forever, but we fixed it. Welcome back, everybody. We did a lot of work, did a lot of planning. You probably noticed some new sections to the podcast and all that we hope you like and we'll be continuing with as we go forward. But for now, we're going to read and critique a story.
Yeah, we are.
And we're going to do the...
Oh, yeah.
The classic...
Oh, ooh.
Ooh. We're going to do classic sci-fi. I know that's not everyone's favorite, but it's our favorite.
So how are you doing, Abysmii?
I'm doing all right. I'm put on a few pounds, trying to lose them.
Put on a few pounds.
Yeah.
I guess all that sitting down and eating tallows wasn't really good for you.
No, and I didn't think it was, but I mean, I did it anyway. Because I'm me. What about you, Papreeka? How you doing?
I'm pretty angry with you for, not helping, at all.
I mean, I picked up that wrench and I started working on the aft rocket, and then you started throwing things at me, so I stopped.
You weren't actually... Hitting a rocket with a wrench does not actually fix anything.
That's not what corporate taught me. Now, granted, I slept through most of those sessions, but hey, I mean... You
can't just hit a side of the spaceship with the wrench and then think it does the spaceship any good.
Hard impact broke the rocket, so hard impact will fix the rocket. That's just basic logic. And logic is a class you take in a school.
I do remember that class that taught us how to fix Nintendo cartridges in space school.
The hell's Nintendo? Is that some weird bar I haven't been to?
No.
No?
No.
What's a Nintendo? Is that some race of aliens I don't know about?
No, it's an Earth toy.
Is it?
Yeah.
The Earthlings have a lot of toys. I can't keep up with them.
They do.
I looked at fidget spinners and I kind of just checked out after that.
What was the last bar you went to while I was working, Abysmii?
Well, there's no bars out here, but I have been making rocket fuel into what can essentially be called bathtub crank. So I've been drinking that. A lot of that. It's also not very healthy.
You have no idea what kind of alcohol that is.
I know it's alcoholic, and that's what's important.
It's a good thing you have that extra liver to help you sort.
Oh, the extra liver's gone. So we're on the one liver now, so I got to be careful.
Did you ruin it? You ruined it already.
It's a calcified husk, but with appropriate medication we can get when we get back to civilization, I think I can regenerate it. So then I'll be back to full drinking capacity.
Okay, you're gonna regenerate one of your broken livers.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought you had more livers than two. You just have
No,
two?
I have more kidneys than livers.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Gotta keep up.
Oh, anyways.
We are reading...
That was dumb.
That was dumb. It's always dumb for you to question my biology and for me to question your engineering. So hopefully we can walk away from this situation having learned more about each other. But probably not.
No.
So like I said, we're going to read some classic sci-fi. We will be getting back to the short sci-fi stories from Reddit once I rebuild that.
Are you going to put the picture, the cover of this?
I would like to,
because it looks really freaking cool.
It is cool. I don't think this is from the story we're going to read, but...
Looks like somebody kind of dressed up as Tweety Bird.
A little bit. This is from Galaxy, which is, I think, my favorite of these old pulp novels.
I couldn't pick a favorite.
It's from February 1963, so this one is real old. Really, really old. And
it's super boring.
Super boring.
Super boring. Wait, I meant super fun and entertaining.
Boring in the mainstream sense of, this doesn't have lasers and explosions, so I don't want to watch it. But we want to. This is called Pollony, Pollony, Pollony Undiverted, by Sydney Van Scyoc? Scyoc? Scyoc, which is an awesome last name.
That is a weird last name. I've never heard that last
name.
I'd
have to look that up.
Yep.
Subtitle says, with the whole world at her doorstep, what she wanted was completely out of reach. So from that, I'm guessing this is about a woman who is in a
is
bad
about her
relationship.
Finding a suitor. Wait, read it again. What is it?
With the whole world at her doorstep, what she wanted was completely out of reach.
So she's like a princess, and like
Maybe.
there's a guy,
Maybe.
and like she wants the guy, but space laws won't let her have the guy.
See, that would be fun if it was literally just Space Law 74.6 says you can't have guy. And then they have to like...
It literally just says no.
No. Well, at least that would be the best law ever. Not because it's an ethical law, but it's a simple one. It just says no.
It's like 80,000 pages.
You can't dispute
complex,
it.
Hereby, where too far, and then Law 76.
No.
No.
I'm going to sneak that into legislation one of these days. All right. Pollony's dream formed around a glare of light, a tang of men's lotion.
A tang of what?
What? I'm going to read that again because I think my brain just broke. Pollony's dream formed around a glare of light, a tang of men's lotion.
So like motor oil by Old Spice or something?
What was men's lotion like in 1963? I'm very confused about this.
I don't know.
And we're one sentence in.
It's probably like fine cognac or something.
Sure. Then she was awake to Brendel poking her.
Brendel?
Brendel? Like Grendel, but with a B? Guessing Brendel's a guy.
Okay, is it a robot?
I don't know. I'm hungry. I guess that's Brendel.
It's not a robot.
That. She struggled to burrow back into sleep. I'm starving, kid. I can't sleep. She bleared at the time spot. Bleared? I guess that's a word. It's like glaring, but like you're bleary, so you're looking through hazy eyes, maybe. It was 3 a.m. Go away. Aw, give me an omelet. Brendel ate a lot lately. His features were coarsening from it. His body was plumpening. Okay.
That's also a word.
Plumpening. I like it. It is a word. She argued and protested and whined, and he hit her. Oh, damn. But it didn't make her feel good anymore when he hit her. What the hell am I reading?
Wait, read that last sentence again.
But it didn't make her feel...
No. The last one before that, and then that.
She argued and protested and whined, and he hit her. But it didn't make her feel good anymore when he hit her. This is either very brave for 1963 or really fucked up.
So at some point, it did make her feel good when he hit her?
Yeah, she was into that.
She was into a guy, a plumpening that likes eggs, hitting her.
I'm very confused and unsettled at the same time.
Oh my god, I love these old stories.
I'm confused. This is weird.
Uh-huh.
Kitchen Central was in op for the night. Inoperative, I guess.
Okay, but she burrowed in, so they are in a building.
Yeah, I think burrowed into sleep means she tried to like get back under the covers.
Okay, alright.
I think that's what that meant. She punched storage. Dried ingredients materialized on the cook grid. A flat metal sheet set into the countertop. This is making a futuristic kitchen sound very boring. Later, as she took the omelet up, she heard Brendel setting the opera tapes. She scowled. But when opera shattered their live... That might be a typo. But when opera shattered their live, she dropped the skillet and cried. Oh, do we have to listen to that trash? Her voice was more weary than shrill. The opera routine was getting old. What you callin' trash? He twitched his plump shoulders. It makes me sick. He spat profanity. It wasn't a good fight. He knew something was wrong, and he hit her too hard. She slugged back, hurt her hand, cursed, ran and locked herself into the sleep.
Maybe it's just a weird future way of talking.
I'm guessing, yeah.
And maybe this is her fat husband?
I guess.
This is turning into a fat husband abusive relationship thingy?
I really can't tell. All right. Your turn.
Thank you.
Your turn.
I don't know if I want to. Wait, where am I? She glared?
Top of the second page.
Okay. It wasn't a good fight, implying that there were good fights.
Yeah.
She was asleep when he came pounding. She woke and pointed the lock open. She glared. You know, this is an interesting... It's almost like a dialect.
Yeah, this is an intentional way of truncating speech or something.
Yeah, she woke and pointed the lock open. She glared. I guess you can do that in the future. Because turning doorknobs, it's
you can
just
blear,
too complicated.
You can glare.
You can plumpen.
Let me use that in common speech.
You can turn powder into omelets.
Maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you can already do that.
Well, yeah, you can. She pointed the lock open.
Uh-huh.
She glared. He said nothing. He ordered his small collections, his miniature horses, his ballpoint pens, and the old-time cereal box missiles. I think, like, he collected, like, old stuff, like 1960 stuff.
Or he's a giant
as
child?
antiques. He has collections. He has collections of stuff that are antique-y.
But he's like, I want food. I want toys. I like opera. That's the weird one. I can't explain that one.
Maybe man-children are more common in the future.
Man-child?
Are prolific. On to his store shelf before mounting his sleep shelf and pointing out the light. Wait.
Clap on. Clap
I think
off.
he just went to bed.
I guess.
She could hear him not sleeping. Finally, he muttered, "Too damn much cheese, but it was okay." She said nothing. She didn't almost cry, as she might have a month before.
That's...
This is a very truncated, abusive relationship.
I think that's a new
was
dish.
That,
a new
was
dish
that a whole day? Because he just went to bed.
No, I think she woke up at 3.
Okay.
And he woke her up at 3 and said, "I want food," and she made him food, and then went back to sleep. But that's my favorite dish at Denny's is too damn much cheese.
The too damn much cheese slam. Brendel had appeared on their grid a year before, a dark, pugnacious young man, jittering and nervous. Claire Webster around? Mother isn't here. Her mother collected men. She met them at drinking clubs or collector meets. She gave them her grid card and took theirs, making them promise to come see her. If a man came, she tacked his card on her bulletin board. I guess it's like a physical calling card.
I guess.
If he came twice or 3 times, she marked his card with colored pencil. Brendel twitched his shoulders. "I got the evening. Want to have dinner, kid?" She was 17 and tired of collecting china roosters and peach can labels. This is like some dystopian future where nobody eats real food and they collect things that were once mass-produced.
Yeah, I think you're right.
She was tired of seeing the same stupid people every day. Somewhere there was someone handsome and perfect, and she had to find him and become perfect too. She couldn't waste all of her time being stupid like her mother. It took her 2 hours to see that Brendel was the perfect person. He was handsome, aggressive, easy to be with. I guess aggressive is a good thing. He quarreled all the time and even had a full-time job. I love this. This is awesome.
I'm so confused.
Okay, we're in a future where aggressive behavior is
I guess not the norm.
Is desirable?
Maybe. He has a full-time job, he's handsome, he's aggressive. So I guess he's a bit unpredictable, but he has stability. And maybe that's something other men don't have in the future?
No, but being aggressive is good.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, she married him. She dropped her little girl collections and diversions. She was no longer a formless adolescent. She was very solid, very adult. But the solidness had gone. She had found that Brendel's aggressiveness masked fear. His quarrelsomeness masked insecurity. Worse, he had no imagination. He plotted. It begun 2 weeks before. Brendel had come home from work, tight and tense. He tried eating. He tried opera and quarreling. He tried exercises. Finally, he said, "I'm going to go see Latsker Smith. Want to come?" Who the hell's Latsker? I can't say it. It's got a T in it. Latsker Smith. Already she was sick of the opera routine and a little sick of Brendel. Drives a car from Boston. Phil at a plant told me he's in Center City. Do you want to read the next page?
Sure.
Okay. Then some sort of building or public transportation picture?
It's a street in a big, it's like a downtown metropolis. And it's a beautiful illustration. I like it.
It's all smeary.
Yeah, it's smeared faces as part of the building. Minutes later, they gridded out of the suburban maze. They materialized on a corner grid in Center City. There was no one on the dusty street. There was no car near the gaunt brick building where Latsker Smith was staying. They plopped on the doorstep. Brendel fidgeted and talked. Lasker Smith was the son of a rich industrialist. His father wouldn't support him unless he worked, and Lasker wouldn't work. So he had to live on government non-employment allowance. His pre-grid automobile and airplane were his only diversions, since he couldn't leave Boston by automobile. Boston being walled up like any city by the streetless suburbs. He saved his allowance until he could commercial grid his car to another city. There he raced and squealed and spun through the deserted streets of Center City until he had saved enough to commercial grid the car elsewhere.
So he can't drive his car or fly his plane inside the city?
I'm guessing you have to pay, you pay per where you want to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This sounds really familiar.
What do you mean?
To another
Yeah,
one
we read
read
another story where transportation was a little bit funny. It seemed like it was automatic.
And it was also from the perspective of a woman who was seeing company. People were warping in and out or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is very similar.
Yeah. So this one has automatic transportation. I
guess it's you can. I don't know. We could speculate, but whatever.
Read damn story.
Yeah. A throbbing split the air. A red splinter of car hurtled around the corner and squealed to the curb. A tall, lank man unfolded, ignoring them. Brendel sprang to overwhelm him. He pulled to the steps to make introductions. But Lasker Smith peered absently at Pollony, and when she was embarrassed, that Brendel acted like an eager child confronting some heroic figure from a dream. Lasker's pop got money. Brendel launched into his story again.
When the story fizzled, she said, "Why couldn't you get a job?" Smith held his head titled. "Don't want a job. If you had a job, you wouldn't have to stay one place so long." Okay. This is a back and forth a little bit, so I'll try and do a man voice. "No use being any place if I have to leave my car. She pursed her lips. Inside the car, she could see seat straps, a wheel. It was incomprehensible that he strapped himself in, hurtled through the streets. "It's a stupid thing to do," she said. "You'll get killed." "No," he said.
Law 764B.1.
"No. If you hit something, you will. I've heard those atrocity stories. There were more people killed in automobiles from..." "Nothing to hit," he said. She flung out her arms. "Buildings, poles." His lack of response offended her. "No need to hit them." "I've seen the films."
I've seen Red Asphalt 7.
"I've seen Reefer Madness." She had seen the crumpled metal, the severed limbs, the spreading blood. Driver error. No drivers left. Too expensive on government allowance. "No one stupid enough left, you mean?" But it was stupid to glare when he wouldn't frown. "Okay, so what's it feel like?" she demanded. He lifted his shoulders and dropped them. I guess he shrugged.
Maybe.
"It must feel some way." She peered down into the machine, trying to imagine herself hurtling in it. "You fly an airplane too," she accused. He nodded. "I bet it's just like gridding, and it takes longer." Gritting? He snorted mildly. There's no sensation at all to gritting." "Then how does it feel to fly?" she prodded. Brendel moved relentlessly. Bored. "Let's get going." "We just got here, stupid," she protested. As people in the future can only come up with the word
people.
Stupid to describe people.
I don't understand these people.
He was already pulling her to the corner grid. "I'm getting hungry." She tried to jerk her arm free, but couldn't. "How long will you be here?" she called back, swatting Brendel's arm. He lifted his shoulders and dropped them. "If I come," but Brendel had given their number. They were outside their own door, and she hadn't felt a thing. So I guess you punch in your address.
And you translocate.
Today she resented not feeling a thing. "These weirdos, they talk too much. I'm hungry." She resented punching his food and didn't even want to quarrel. So it's in the future. He can punch his own damn food.
But getting her to do it is better.
No, it's her job. It's her job to punch the food because she's a woman. But yeah.
She drowsed back into sleep, remembering. Everything was empty. She ate, she slept, she quarreled, she gritted around seeing friends. What else was there? She couldn't get a job. There weren't
Why
that
couldn't
many
she get
jobs.
a job?
There weren't that many. And with a government allowance for not working, who needed a job? Who needed anything? A time of plenty, her school machine had called it. You just girded around collecting and arguing to make it interesting. Okay, so I kind of see where we're going now. This is a dystopian future where everyone's pretty much cared for, so it's that line of thinking that if you can't struggle for something, then life doesn't have meaning.
So that's why you want to marry abusive men?
Yeah, because, it's something at least unpredictable. But even that got boring, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many people moving so fast that you had to quarrel and push or you'd get stepped on. It was all stupid. Brendel didn't help a bit. He was stupid, too. Stupid.
How do you feel about the story, Abysmii? Is it stupid?
I think that it's definitely of its time.
Lots of stupid.
She tried to imagine Latsker Smith echoing through the empty streets in his scarlet splinter of car. Latsker Smith couldn't be stupid. I think you overestimate Latsker Smith.
Well, he's just... is he raising his shoulders and dropping them out there on the street?
Like a real man. She slept 3 hours before the grid bell rang. Elka, her cousin, stood on the grid, loose-haired, big-toothed. She swung a hat box. I didn't get you up? No, Pollony said hopelessly. I'm gridding to New York City, hatting, and it's not even 7. Paul, I'm contritus.
Do you have to pay to use the grid, did they say?
I guess, yeah. Like you have a grid card and...
is that what a grid card is?
Yeah, I think it's like part identification, part credit card, part other stuff.
It's Bitcoin.
Sure. Paul, I'm contritus, but you weren't sleeping, and I don't need hats. You haven't seen the darling
and
I got.
I don't need hats. Because you buy hats in New York City.
Women be shopping. Women be gridding. You haven't seen the darling I got in Paris. I gridded over with Stella Kyle, and honestly there was a shop that she convinced Elka that she was not going hatting. Elka took her toll in coffee and gridded after her Paris hat. Pollony barely admired it, and Elka left. Before she could dial Brendel's breakfast, her mother was on the grid, fluffy, fleecy, thrusting a wad of bills at her. Just on my way to Mexico, Toodle. Toodle, punch me some coffee. Breathless moments later, she was gone.
Just handed her money and then said bye.
Bye! What took so long? Brendel demanded when she woke him. Mama stopped. She hated him like this, his face creased and puffy from sleep. She had never thought he would get fat. He gulped his breakfast and left. Sometimes she hated him for just being. The grid bell rang. It was a salesman. He insinuated she didn't have the money to buy his product. She said his merchandise stank. He left grinning, but...
Wasn't stupid.
Wasn't... Yeah, it could have been stupid.
It was just stank.
He left grinning, but she didn't feel better. The bell rang. A young man muttered, "Miss Grid," and disappeared. So...
This reminds me of Logan's Run a little bit.
It's kind of weird that we're seeing the minutia of her day that wears her down after the story is said, the minutia of her day wore her down. Here's what it looks like.
In very clunky short form.
Yeah, and I get that it's like people are zipping in and out of her life very quickly and she can barely give a shit. I get that, that's fine. It's just weird that we were told and then shown when it should just be shown and not told.
I don't know.
She had gotten to the dress when she heard the door open. She
had gotten to the dress?
Dresser? I don't know. She eyed the hall reflector and saw Farron, her mother's brother, slip into the cook. She dressed hastily. Farron would order breakfast and keep the silver to turn in from his own grid for the deposit.
What? She what? Did he steal
I think
forks?
Silver is currency? I have no idea. I mean, I think it's a stylistic choice that the language is very weird and clunky and fast and without... And
no,
I
think they're saying that he ordered breakfast and took the bowl with him.
Maybe.
He was plumped up to the counter of... Can
I have like a page break here, a section break?
I'm not even the one drinking right now. He was plumped up to the counter, a woolly-haired man.
Wasn't plumped?
Plumped? He was plumped up to the counter. A woolly-haired man. Attacking a stack of egg caques. I shouldn't
What?
say that. Egg cakes.
Oh, okay.
Egg cakes. Let me have them. He purred.
Aren't all cakes made from eggs? Yeah, all cakes are made from eggs.
Is this Farron at the counter?
Sure, I don't know.
Or is she somewhere else? Because the
Or
story moves too fast.
Maybe this is Brendel again. I don't know.
He purred, taking spoon and knife from a pocket. The government allowance is hardly sufficient for a man of my tastes. Shielded by your father's fortunes as you are. You could get a job, she punched coffee.
This must be Farron. Not Farron, Tasker.
Grendel?
Because Brendel has a job.
Brendel. Oh.
Or
punched coffee.
Or is he telling her to get a job?
Punched coffee.
She punched coffee?
She punched coffee. Because, you know, it's such an aggressive culture.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Strong woman do bong soon.
That's another story for another time. She wished he would go away. He was always watching, smiling, spinning together soft words. And add to the work shortage, he wagged his woolly head. Then don't complain. There should be a syrup picture too. I have no idea what's going on. He produced it, purring.
He's a cat.
The grid bell rang. Two pig-faced men in black Gridco uniforms blocked the doorway. You got Farron Carmichael's inside, lady. No. You always lied to Gridco collectors. We traced him here from Dallas. Well, he isn't here now. I guess it is. Farron is the woolly-haired man.
Mm.
So that makes sense. How come we heard him talking? He isn't here. Gridco could not move a grid even though the subscriber refused to pay his quarterly bill. Oh, Gridco could not remove a grid even though a subscriber refused to pay his quarterly bill.
You think they would just shut down his grid card access?
Yeah, but that's not. They haven't quite figured out how credit cards work in the 19. No, yeah, they have. Totally in the 60s.
Is weird that they would. This author would invent a grid-based economy and society that is accessed via a card.
I think it's free. I think it's more like.
No, because there's a government allowance and you have to pay your grid card.
Yeah, so it's like a subscription.
Yeah, it's basically your credit card for life. It's your identification. It's how you transport yourself. It's how you pay for food. And they're like, well, we can't shut down a grid, so we just got to find him. And he doesn't pay his bill. Just shut down his card.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird that the author would imagine that, but not this. I don't know.
No, it's stupid, so it's okay. The grid was held by law to be essential to human existence in the twisting, walled alleys of suburbia. So it's a public utility.
Okay, but you still shut down utilities if someone doesn't pay.
Yeah,
you take people's houses and they don't pay their freaking property tax.
You really want to argue the legality of this poorly constructed grid world?
I'm saying it's weird that the author did not consider this, even given this is 1963.
I think they're equating the grid more to a road than a private phone.
But it's more. But it's everything, though. The way this story is describing it, it's a lot more than just transportation.
But it is. What else is it other than transportation?
It sounds like it's also how you pay for food.
No. They have a thing for food.
Oh, they just punch a thing.
They punch a thing. They have replicators.
Okay. It's hard. The story is written very strangely.
Difficult to decipher.
Okay, continue.
Yes, continue. I will when I find where I was. Gridco could only send collectors to follow until their quarry fell or was pushed into their hands, and a man who had once fallen into Gridco hands paid eagerly forever after. We can pull another trace. Do that. She slammed the door. Do it.
Do it.
She had time for a quick swallow of coffee before the bell rang. He didn't go no farther, she sighed. Well, he won't come out. I can't make him. He'll come sometime. They leaned back against nothing, waiting. You're blocking my grid. Dutifully, they stepped into the narrow corridor. She slammed the door. They're going to stand out there until you go out. Farron drained his coffee cup. I'll settle here then. If you, he tutted, thank you for the lunch invitation. She bit her tongue. She would not get mad. Okay.
So she's kind of being stepped on.
Yeah.
There's people zipping in and out of her life and kind of
she,
using her as a doormat.
Likes it, I think.
I think she's just looking for excitement or some change of pace somehow. That's why she quarrels all the time. She calls things stupid. She's, again, this is born from the old, but I mean, still somewhat current idea that if humanity doesn't have to work or struggle for things, they will get insanely bored.
Well, it's not that. I mean, right now we're dealing with a social situation. Her brother won't pay his bill, and so the cops are outside.
That was her uncle. Isn't her mom's brother?
My bad. Maybe it's an uncle.
Maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
Her mother's brother. You're right.
Yeah.
He wagged his head. I'll pre-use Brendel's books. Fine collection for a young man. Books. Peruse.
Fetch me his books so that I may pre-use them before he can.
Oh man, this is so hard to read. I'll peruse Brendel's books. Okay. Gritting her teeth, she hurtled back to the dress. I guess she changed.
Yeah. Dressing.
Okay. And then there's a page break. Do you want to read from there?
Sure. The collectors rang every 5 minutes after that. They kept ringing until she went and told them Farron would not come out. It wasn't the way she had imagined it would be when she was married. What with punching Brendel's meals, sending out his clothes, going collecting with him, and quarreling. Oh, collecting shopping!
Is it the same thing?
I think that's what that is.
But without money?
I think that's what collecting is.
Maybe there's like areas that are just full of stuff, and maybe they peruse garbage dumps for junkyards for stuff.
No, because I don't know. She hardly had a minute, and the same stupid people, Elka, Farron, her mother and father, were always there. The bell rang. Her father scowled, seeing Farron on Brendel's best sit shelf. You mean chair?
Sit shelf.
Where? He said grimly.
Bench?
Mexico, she said. Pottery, he said, going. Where's your mother? Mexico. Some fucking pottery.
God, this story, the pacing is weird because I guess they're trying to make you feel as the breakneck pace of their lives.
Absolutely. And I do admire that. It is very hard to read. The bell rang. A heavy-jawed youth said, Miss Webster gave me... My mother has gone to Mexico. She slammed the door. Minutes later, Stella Kyle gritted in, crisp, prim blonde. I haven't seen you in such a time, Paul. Coffee?
Who's Stella Kyle?
I don't fucking know. She entertained Stella and wished she would go and knew Farron...
Oh, that's her friend from Paris?
Is it? Oh, yeah, sorry. See, I already forgot who these people are. They're so in and out. And wished she would go and knew Farron knew she wanted Stella to go and found it amusing. Every 5 minutes, the collectors rang. She had just talked Stella out the door when Lucia Collins gritted in. Lucia had never been Pollony's close friend in school.
God, imagine robocalls in this grid.
No. I refuse to imagine that. I already get 7 a day. But now Lucia was always near, pushing, prodding at Pollony, smiling too brightly at Brendel. You two are coming to lunch with me. Okay.
Ouch.
Want to be a little bit less rapey? I've already asked Farron to lunch. Silly, he can punch his own. Oh no, Pollony said. I take the silver. Farron smiled comfortably. Lucia flipped her hand at him. Atrocious man. Now, Pollony. Well, I like Stella.
What?
Atrocious man. It ended with Lucia inviting herself to come back to lunch. She had hardly vacated the grid when Elka appeared. Wait, no, Elka was the one with the hat, I think.
That went hatting?
I guess. It ended... she unwrapped her purchases, smirking at Farron. You'd be surprised the number of hats a girl needs. She stayed half an hour. It was an eternity. Okay. After another young man came for her mother. 2 salesmen, a traveling circular, and a friend came. I don't know what that is. Then Brendel was on the grid. Who these lugs for? Uncle Farron, she said shortly. He lifted a lip at them, then bounced inside. Forget your bill, Fairy. Hey, kid, punch drinks. I refuse to honor it, Farron said. Brendel was already fishing in his pocket. Drinks, kid. She went to punch. She hated his trying... She hated his trying to give money to everyone who came along.
Why? Oh, because he has a job?
Yeah, and Farron's a lazy loud, I guess. No, it is a matter of principle, Farron insisted, that the money changed hands, and there were certain other obligations. You fucking parasite.
And there are certain other obligations?
I don't know. How much you need?
Did he want a blowjob?
I have other debts, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
How much you need, Brendel fished into his pocket again, grinning. And, you take it from that break.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Another page break, everybody. Watch out for these page breaks. They're confusing.
Oh, every sentence is confusing.
Oh, the bell rang. It was Lucia. All these ravenous people waiting on me. She had changed into a fire-red day suit. So, because she was going to go
She
join
transmuted
Speed
into
Racer.
clothing.
She was going to go join Speed Racer on the track. Dobble, you should have fed the beasts. She snapped her fingers. Up, beast. I'll help you punch Dob. Is Dobble
What?
Farron?
What is happening? What
I
is
don't know
this?
what a Dobble is. I have no idea what a Dobble is.
Oh my god.
Dobble, you should have fed the beasts. She snapped her fingers. Up, beast. I'll help you punch Dob.
I'll help you press buttons to order food.
Glowering, Pollony moved toward the cook. Brendel followed, chattering and arguing with Lucia. Pollony was beginning to think again of a swiftly accelerating car. You know, I wish this little story had like a little, want to have one of those little vocabulary sections in the front and the back of it, just to explain some of the things that are happening. You can reference
Footnotes
them.
would have been nice.
Yes.
Yeah, footnotes would have been appreciated.
Pollony was beginning to think again of a swiftly accelerating car, of her body encased beside that Latsker Smith, and hurtled through dusty streets. Brendel said, "How many for opera?" She whirled and glared. "Pollony's a bug on opera. Tell them how you like opera, kid." She glared.
Who refers to their wife as kid? That's weird.
Yeah, well, it's like a 1920s term, isn't it? Here's looking at you, kid. It feels like 1920s.
Okay. Story's weird.
Yeah. She glared. The last time Lucia and Farron had been there, he had done this. And the time before. Didn't he have any imagination? Tell them, kid. Fool. Didn't he know they were laughing at him? She wanted to tear loose from her whole life. It was trivial. Positively trivial. It was every day. It was gossip and collections and stupid people. She had to tear loose or she would go on and on all her life, being nothing but herself. She was too good for that.
Oh.
She was too good for Brendel. He had tricked her and turned into a fattening fool. It was stupid to stay with him. Ah, come on, kid. She drew herself up very straight and imagined she must look imposing. "I'll ask you all to leave," she said calmly. Gone were the smiles. "I'm closing my grid to public access. I'll ask you to leave immediately."
When you close your grid to public access, there's a little sign pop up in front saying, like, restricted road construction or something.
I don't know. But you can turn off your own grid, but the government can't turn it off for you?
I guess because it's like you have the right to turn off access to your... Well, yeah. So if the grid people come and are like, hey, you didn't pay your bill, or the police come, I guess they could be like, no, open up again? I don't know. Questions. I have many
Also, what
questions.
were they going to do when they caught him? I mean, like, he doesn't have any... Well, he has money on him now, but he
they insinuated that people who get caught start paying, like, after pretty eagerly, so...
So you go to prison camp?
Maybe they rough you up like the Pinkertons, or maybe they just scare you with code 476-1B.
No. That doesn't make any damn sense. Okay.
This is very much keyhole fiction.
I feel like I need to read this story again, but I don't want to.
Agreed.
I'm closing my grid to public access. I'll ask you all to leave immediately. The words came out stiffly and precisely. She imagined she must already be more than just herself. What the hell? Brendel, you may come back when I am gone. I shall not return, she smiled remotely. I'm tired of punching your food and going collecting and quarreling and being hit around. I never hit you hard, he said indignantly.
I only beat you slightly.
Lucia stared at him. Double! So I guess double is
An exclamation.
Brendel, is Brendel.
Maybe.
Well, she made me do it. What am I supposed to do? Double, you're perfectly justified. But Lucia's eyes remained on Brendel, bright and greedy.
Okay.
Lucia wants to date Brendel?
I am so confused. I'm so lost.
Every factual thing that happens in the story is in question.
The irony is that this story makes me feel stupid. Because I feel like I'm missing obvious things, and I'm just like, I can't remember half of what's happening.
Pollony glared. She would not stay and fight Lucia for Brendel. So,
okay.
Okay, there's another page break, conveniently. So why don't you take that?
Convenient. She flung the door open. The two collectors snapped alert. I want to be alone, she intoned. Brendel eyed her balefully. But he had already noticed Lucia's interest. Where are we going to go? Well, they're already fucking married, whatever.
Maybe marriage is like as instantaneous as the rest of this world is.
That would make sense. That would be thematic. I like it. We can go to my live, Lucia said. I think Dobble deserves her little whim. Just tell me what the fuck that means. Brendel could not believe
Is that like saying squanch?
I can't. Squanch. Brendel could not believe she was not going to fight. You kid, you're acting like a kid. Good one. Farron took Brendel's arm. Don't stoop to conventional pettiness, Brendel. Brendel flushed. I'm coming back. You're not rooking me out of my collections. I want my stuff. Dump it out.
His ballpoint pens?
I guess. He turned abruptly and stepped on the grid, giving a 3-passenger order. He disappeared. Lucia followed. Farron stepped on, tossed bills to the collectors, and disappeared. What an ass. Pollony closed the door. She leaned against it, breathing the silence. Then she hurried through the live, setting it in order. She straightened the books Farron had been examining and found 2 missing. Wow, I hate Farron. Even as Lucia was punching dinner and saying all the things designed to make Brendel want Pollony back once briefly, as a point of pride, Pollony was whisking into a brisk trouser suit and wondering how much had piled up in the account where she kept her parents' gifts. Even as Brendel was feeling Lucia's face with his eyes, letting her excitement speak to his own, Pollony was at the bank, having her balance marked into her deposit clip. So she is going and getting all of her money out. She's going to skip town. Okay. Mind if I just finish this off? When do you want to?
I wanna.
Okay. You do or you don't?
I wanna.
You wanna? Okay. Then go ahead.
My turn?
Yes,
My turn. Last page. Last page. Even as Farron was smiling and wondering how much the 2 books would bring, so that you do pay for stuff.
Yeah.
Pollony was rapping at the door of the apartment house in Center City and being told that yes, Mr. Smith still lived there. Presently, Latsker Smith roared around the corner and braked his car. He unfolded from the cockpit. He nodded. Have you got money to go to Boston yet? She held her... Oh, wait. Have you got money to go to Boston yet? She held herself very straight. He shook his head. I have money, she said. The pale eyes clung to her. My parents give me an allowance, and I could get jobs wherever we were. I just want to ride with you. I wouldn't even talk unless you wanted me to. She had to be with him. She had to sit and stand beside him, as relaxed and withdrawn as he was. She had to freeze people with her words and with her unrespondingness. She had to make an end of stupidness. He took a deposit clip from a pocket. He pointed to a figure. Match that? She withdrew her own clip and showed him a figure that exceeded his.
Ooh.
How much allowance, she told him. She told him. He nodded to the car. Wait there. Take me 5 minutes to pack.
Gonna go get some smokes.
Treadingly, joyously, she folded it into the car. She watched as he lanked up the steps. She settled back, holding her shoulders rigid and her head straight. She would sit and stand by him. She would chill people with her reserve. She would be very solid and very adult.
She would be really cool arm candy.
Yeah. But minutes later, she looked at her wrist and saw that he had been more than 5 minutes. She wished he wouldn't take so long. When he came down the steps 2 at a time, she tried not to remember that she hated people who came down steps 2 at a time.
What?
Already the romance is shattered. What? Do you get that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
What?
She hates people that take steps 2 at a time.
I don't know.
Because they're the worst kind of people.
Apparently.
She didn't like the way his hair flopped against his forehead either. And she almost got out of the car when she saw his trouser suit was much too short. It had made him look off balance. He got into the car. "Don't touch this." He pointed to the starter button. He scowled. "Or this. Or this. Or this." He pointed to the pedals, to the gear shift lever. He reached out and heaved his suitcase into her lap. He said briskly, "Don't let it bump the door panel." A corner dug into her stomach. And then he turned his head and ignored her completely. And she forgot the steps, the hair, the trouser suit, and she knew she would not get out of the car so long as he was in it.
Wow.
By Sydney Van Scyoc. Is this translated from another language?
Is it intentional that she's a tool and she's like
She's
okay being a tool? She's just looking for the next person to treat her like a tool?
That's the story.
Yeah.
That's the story.
I can't tell if there's like some subtext here because
What kind of subtext?
We really gotta stop
Or is it
touching these.
Is it deteriorating?
It's deteriorating in our hands. Ugh, that's bad. We gotta preserve these. This is an original book, by the way. We got this. Yeah. I can't tell if the author is making a point about how no matter how far society advances, women will still devalue themselves and will attach themselves to men. Or if the author is blind to that.
I think this is exactly what you said. It's keyhole fiction. And it's just from the perspective of this frivolous character.
It feels like I'm reading Catcher in the Rye. A little bit.
That's an odd comparison.
Really?
I think.
Well, okay, the protag in that is everyone's a phony, and I want this, but I don't know how to get it. You know, it's a very similar feeling to me.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of themes in Catcher in the Rye, and this one.
Even just the mannerisms and the perspective on life the protag has.
Yeah, it's a short-sighted, shallow perspective of life.
Definitely. But I feel like that's intentional because that's the world.
I feel
how
like
it is.
I don't really think she's making comments on being a woman. That's of the time. I think the comments are more of instant gratification.
Yeah, for sure.
There's an element of not being satisfied with getting everything you want, and I think that's more the story that she's telling. I don't think it really has to do with misogyny, although that is the natural element this story takes on.
It could be us reading into it.
It is. We're totally reading
perspective.
into it. And the story is more about instant gratification.
But doesn't that also happen in relationships?
Yeah, and she's treating her relationships as short-sightedly as she's treating everything else in her life.
Okay.
And that's kind of
so
the
it's
point.
A conscious choice what she's doing, and she's aware of it. So she could find someone else, but she would rather find someone who is aloof, slightly abusive, because it excites her, I suppose.
She's just looking for excitement in a life that she finds boring.
Yeah, I understand that.
That she just wants to do things she doesn't necessarily... She wants to find that unpredictability of life. Yeah. Which doesn't always come easy, and so she jumps into it when maybe she should. But that's not really like that's the nature of her character, but that's not like, I don't think she's trying to make a statement. I think this is just, as you said, keyhole fiction. There's no sort of statements made in this story. There's just a beginning, a middle, and a somewhat satisfying end.
Not
to
really.
give the story a bit of a...
I wasn't satisfied by that ending whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, there's a poetry to it or something?
Sure, yeah. So the ending makes sense for the story, definitely. I'm not happy with it, but...
This story is more of an exercise in... It's an exercise in a couple of things, right? It's an exercise in imagining a world with this grid. It's an exercise in imagining the futuristic language that they might be speaking. It's
just super abbreviated English, which makes sense, because that is happening to our language.
It's an exercise in... what was I saying? The food, the lifestyle, trying to guess what people would be doing in the future. And it's not really so much about the conclusion. We're just reading into it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think so.
But all of those things that this is an exercise in are clunky and hard to understand, and I kind of want to read the story again.
It's intentional. That's the thing. It's not written poorly because of incompetence. It's written poorly to get a point across. And I do respect that a lot. It was very difficult to comprehend at points. It does feel like you are reading the story of a commoner in that time, which might not be a very smart person. True. We only had one mention of education. It was just the school machine. Right, because nobody has jobs. Only one person has a job, and that's Brendel, right? And they probably give you very, very, very basic education and nothing else, because why aspire to work a job if the government can just pay for it? Right, so in the future we have grids, we have powdered food that becomes food instantly. We have instant food. We have trips to Paris whenever we damn well please. We have instantaneous travel. Whatever the hell we want. I didn't get the whole collecting thing. I think that's just what people do if they don't work. They don't have to work, so what do people do? They hoard? Yeah, well, I mean, it's not too different from what we do as people who, as dinks who don't have a house and don't have kids. We do have jobs, but, if we can't afford certain things, we buy other things. What is a dink? Dual income, no kids. Really? Yeah. What does that mean? It's an earthling term for superiority. Okay, there it is. But yeah, my point being that if you don't work, if you don't have to pay a mortgage, if you don't have kids... what do you do? You buy shit. You travel around and buy shit. Yeah. Because there's no impetus to create. There's no impetus to work or, work towards something, I guess is what I'm trying to get here. Ah. So that was a story. We read a story. We did. That happened. We have still a long way to go on our trip to... Where are we going again? Duskin 6. What's in Duskin 6? We have to go meet with that planetary governor or something for that thing. That I already forgot. Yeah. Yeah. It was some sort of space junk mission. I'll reread the thing when we get there. I honestly kind of blanked most of that conversation out. Okay. Yeah. So thank you, everybody, for listening. We will be back, not sure entirely when. But, yeah, welcome to Raygun Readers Season 2. What? Was that trap or was that dubstep? I don't know. You did put in music right there. Oh, okay. Raygun Readers is created and hosted by Papreeka and Abysmii. Dr. Molagar is voiced by King Mob. Music and editing by Abysmii. Art and animation by Beth Morton. Today's story was Pollony Undiverted by Sydney Van Scyoc. Originally published in Galaxy Magazine, February 1963. If you like the podcast, you can listen and download Season 2 episodes from SoundCloud. You can also subscribe to the Raygun Readers channel on YouTube, links in the description. If you want to support the show, consider leaving a like, comment, or sharing this video. If you would like to submit your story for critique, contact Abysmii, links in the description below.